In WWE, character work is so vital to the story. If you don't have the right character or the right person, everything could go haywire and a story may not work as well as it could. So today we're going to talk about the most important character changes in WWE history that may have changed the course of wrestling itself. Let's start out with the character change from Max Dupree to LA Knight. Now, if you're a fan of NXT, you will know that LA Knight was LA Knight in NXT, but when he came up to the main roster, he went to Max Dupree, which was a manager for the Maximum Male Models, which involved Mace and Mansoor and Maxine Dupree. Yes, Max Dupree and Maxine Dupree, if you didn't know, were related storyline wise. Now, obviously, this didn't work out. Eventually, a few months in, LA Knight went back to LA Knight, or I should say Max Dupree went back to LA Knight, and he really didn't gain that much traction. But once he had that match with Rest in Peace Bray Wyatt, that's when he started to gain traction, and we all know the mega pop that he got on a Raw before Money in the Bank. That's when we really knew this guy is the next superstar. And if Max Dupree does not go back to LA Knight, who knows what happens to this mid-card division with the US title and SmackDown, and we never have the megastar. It's not really game-changing, but is definitely a important one to think about. Now next, let's talk about the prodigy to the Doctor of Thuganomics / Chain Gang Soldier, of course that being John Cena. Now, back in 2003, John Cena came up as the prodigy. He was ruthless aggression personified, right? He was supposed to be ruthlessly aggressive. In an interview with Chris Van Vliet, John Cena talked about how this character failed. He failed it because he didn't really understand the persona of the prodigy. He was supposed to be ruthlessly aggressive, and he just wasn't ruthlessly aggressive. He should have been disrespecting the legends and the veterans, but he wasn't doing that. And so he was going to get fired at Winter Cuts, but he didn't because he freestyled on a bus. And because of a freestyle, we have the champ that runs the camp, the Doctor of Thuganomics, the Chain Gang Soldier, 16-time, soon to be 17-time world champion, John Cena. And honestly, if we don't get this character change, we never get that. And the person that's probably a 16-time, probably already breaking that, is Randy Orton. Randy Orton probably takes the place. But the major thing we have to think about is that we don't have that major baby face. We don't have a John Cena. They would still be looking for that next Hulk Hogan, that next Stone Cold, and they probably find it, but who knows? Next up, let's talk about a more recent one in the People's Champion to the Final Boss. Now, to be fair, this really isn't a game changer. This isn't The Rock would have gotten fired if he didn't become the final boss. No, this isn't really a game changer in that perspective. But in the perspective of modern day WWE, this is essential to not only Cody Rhodes, but to the Bloodline story. Because if you remember, The Rock was going to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40. That was a locked-done deal, and it was penciled in by Survivor Series. We knew that, and especially by Royal Rumble, we knew, boom, locked in, Rock versus Roman. And because of us, we got to give ourselves some credit here. Because of us, the fans, we got Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. But before we got that, we got the final boss in The Rock, and we got a heel Rock. Now, a lot of people say, oh, it's Hollywood Rock 2.0. Nah. This isn't Hollywood Rock. This is the final boss. There is a difference. Hollywood Rock is I'm better than you because I'm in movies and I'm a superstar in Hollywood. The final boss Rock is a Hollywood star that has now become a crucial part to the corporate side of WWE. He is a corporate persona of a board member on WWE. Well, he is also a board member, but he is now a political figure. There's a difference. And I gotta tell you, this is the absolute, without a shadow of a doubt, not a single candle to hold, the best version of The Rock. The final boss is one of, if not the most evil heel, maybe I won't say evil, but one of the best heels in the business. One of the best of all time. This dude made Cody Rhodes bleed on PG television and then took a weight belt rubbed Cody Rhodes' blood on the belt and said, I'm going to give this to your mom. Bro, he said Cody Rhodes was a mistake. He stopped the brakes off of Cody Rhodes at the press conference. He said, your family doesn't matter, like everyone else has. But The Rock was vicious, absolutely killer. This is one of the best versions of The Rock we've ever seen. And I can't imagine what would happen if he were to go up against someone like Logan Paul. That's a dream match for me, to be honest. But let's think about it. If we don't get the final boss Rock, let's think about it this way. If he still appears, we would still get Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania 40. Cody would be World Heavyweight Champion instead of WWE Champion, and yet to finish the story. Oh, and I just forgot to mention on that last part, it's gonna be Bloodline Rules, Mama Rose. I'm sorry. That's Santi's gimmick, but I had to say it, all right? Let's talk about the gimmick change that was probably the most essential to WWE at the time, which was stunning Steve Austin, aka the Lion Tamer, into Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, why Vince McMahon made this man a Lion Tamer? Don't know. But we have Bruce Willis to thank because he shaved his head clean, bald. There's no hair on his head. Stone Cold saw that and he was like, hey, maybe I'll give this a try. And he changed his gimmick into Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the rest is history. Like, legitimately, if Stone Cold doesn't do this, WCW probably runs WWF out the building, and WWF may or may not get bought out by WCW. Who knows what happens to wrestling? But all we know is that we got Stone Cold Steve Austin, and we got these epic moments, these epic matches like Bret Hart versus Stone Cold, Rock and Stone Cold. Those matches were incredible. And then you have the moments with Vince McMahon where Stone Cold beats him with a bedpan in a hospital bed, where he goes and fills his car with semen. Right? Like, Stone Cold Steve Austin is the most essential part to the Attitude Era, because without him, who knows where wrestling is at? Not just WCW or WWF, aka WWE. Who knows where wrestling's at a whole? We have no clue what happens without Stone Cold. That's why he's one of the most popular WWE superstars to this day. Like, I even have a Funko Pop over there of Stone Cold. He's on his custom belt. But focus. But everything's going haywire right now. I've had to do like 10 takes of this. I can't get it right. So this is the last one, and I'm going for it. Stone Cold, literally the most essential part to WWF at the time. We don't have this character change. WWF gets run out of business, and WCW wins the wrestling market. So, what do you want to talk about? I want to talk about the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. But before we talk about him, we have to talk about how he left WWE as Stardust. And if you don't know what that gimmick was, I don't blame you, and I don't pity you, because it was a gimmick where he was from space. I'm probably going to put a picture somewhere over here. Yeah, kind of a weirdo. But he gets fired from WWE because he was unhappy with his gimmick. And so he goes out on the indies. He becomes the American Nightmare. He starts building himself up. He builds up AEW, WWE's biggest competitor. Returns in 2022 as the American Nightmare. WWE didn't repackage him, say, oh, let's put that WWE rub on him. No. None of that. He was the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. He kept his theme song and everything. And think about it. If Cody Rhodes doesn't return, actually, if he gives up after leaving WWE, think about what happens. We don't get that Hell in a Cell 5-star match. That was the first 5-star match on the main roster since John Cena and CM Punk at Money in the Bank 2011. Guys, literally a torn pec 5-star match. We don't get Cody Rhodes, a 2-time Royal Rumble winner at this point. We don't get WrestleMania 39 main event night 2. We don't get WrestleMania 40 main event night 2 and night 1. Literally, the landscape of WWE has changed. The major babyface right now is more than likely Seth Rollins. Maybe they push Austin Theory to that main event spot and push him further and further. Who knows? Maybe Roman turns babyface. Maybe it's Jey Uso. The landscape of the babyfaces and WWE as a whole changes. Not only that, say he gives up, AEW doesn't exist at all. And WWE has no competition. Who knows? Who knows what happens? We don't have AEW anymore. So guys like MJF, Darby Allin, some of the older guys like Sting, Jericho have no place to go. Dean Ambrose is probably still in WWE. He probably returns or he goes to New Japan. Regardless, some of the top guys in wrestling like Daniel Bryan, Edge, now they don't have a secondary place to go. They don't have AEW to go to. And now they're probably stuck in WWE in the mid-card, struggling to win the USA title or the IC title. Now let's talk about the most important, most essential character change of all time. In my opinion, I would understand if you said Stone Cold, but in my opinion, it is the most essential character change of all time. I'm talking about the big dog to the OTC/tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Now, if you don't remember, and again, don't pity you if you don't remember this, before Roman Reigns went away, he was the big dog. He was Roman Reigns, the guy from The Shield, and everybody hated him. Everybody hated the big dog because he was like a politically created John Cena, pretty much. This was the guy who said suffering succotash and then winked at the camera. This was the guy who got covered in dog food by Baron Corbin because they thought he was an actual dog. This was the guy who was like, declare at the Royal Rumble and then goes like this to the camera. This was the same guy who main evented WrestleMania with Triple H and beat him for the title and got booed out the arena. The same guy who won the Royal Rumble, booed out the arena with The Rock next to him. The same guy who lost to Brock Lesnar after he took a million F5s at WrestleMania. This guy, we hated him. We didn't like him. Now, I wasn't a fan at the time, but I'm saying we because it's the WWE universe. We could say that. Now, in 2020, Roman Reigns considered himself retired after he left due to COVID-19. He considered himself retired. Dunzo. No more wrestling. I've achieved everything I need to. And he did. When you look at it at a statistical standpoint, he did everything he needed to do. There was nothing left for him. He would have been a Hall of Famer, but we wouldn't have liked it. He would have been hated. And so, at SummerSlam 2020, that glorious return happened where he became the tribal chief. You can even look in that video, at that return video, that was a different Roman Reigns we had never seen before. Full beard. He had that look in his eye. He had that look in his eyes. It was a different look than from the big dog. I look back at the big dog and I even look back as when he had that promo with Goldberg when they were having the WrestleMania program at WrestleMania 36, right? There's a difference. There's a difference between the big dog and the tribal chief /OTC. And if Roman Reigns doesn't return to pro wrestling, we don't have the tribal chief. We don't have the bloodline storyline. We don't have main event Jey Uso. We don't have Solo Sikoa as the tribal chief. We don't have the Tongas, the Tongaloas, the Tamatanga, the Jacob Fatu. Even if he comes here, like he's just another guy. He's just another Samoan guy from that Samoan lineage. Like literally the landscape of wrestling. I'm telling you this right now. If Roman Reigns doesn't return, I'm probably not a wrestling fan. Like, if Roman Reigns did not return, I'm probably not a wrestling fan right now. Not only that, but if Roman Reigns doesn't return, we don't have the Bloodline storyline, we don't have Cody Rhodes' story, and that whole thing with Roman Reigns. Yeah, it still might be the story, but it might have been finished at WrestleMania 39. Like, and then we don't have this long-gated story. So much changes, and honestly, who knows? Maybe AEW. I know AEW haters are going to hate me for saying this, but possibly, just maybe AEW beats out WWE due to the fact that they don't have that megastar, and WWE doesn't become mainstream again, and we more than likely never get Rock versus Roman, and we definitely don't get the main event for night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania 40. So much changes, and it's so crazy that one person and one character change can change the perspective of WWE and wrestling as a whole. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Comment down below, who do you think had the greatest character change of all time, or who had a character change that was essential? I will do another video on this, and I'll read your comments, and you can tell me who had another great character change. That's it. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for listening. And as always, yeet.